Hey everyone, Razador here. First off, just wanted to apologize for how long it's been on uploads here on the Pokemon channel. Next one won't take nearly as long, and I hope you guys enjoy this run. Pokemon Crystal S Misdreavus was an interesting one. It's the first Pokemon in the entire franchise to be pure Ghost type, and that's great news for us, because the beginning is going to be a heck of a lot easier because of it. Why is that? Because most Pokemon in early stages of the game are using mostly normal moves, which won't affect us at all. That said, our early advantage is kind of negated by our level up moveset. Psywave's all we're gonna have for quite a while, so yeah, that's gonna be great. But there are some pretty useful tools on this list. Confuse Ray at level 12 is all kinds of awesome, and moves like Pain Split are gonna leave room for some pretty interesting strategies. But what makes Psywave so awful exactly? Well, let's talk about how this move works. It has 80 accuracy in Generation 2 and deals random damage. The random damage, at minimum, deals 1, and it's a maximum of 1.5 times the Pokemon's level. Now, level 5 will be dealing anywhere from 1 to 7 damage at 6.5 rounded up. And it has the same accuracy as Hydro Pump. So yeah, not looking forward to working with that, but there is some light at the end of the tunnel. Speaking of positives, our base stats aren't too bad. They clock in at just over 430 with greater emphasis on special over physical. Decent speed too, that's always nice. I can't imagine we'll get outsped by much of anything in this run. Maybe some of Red's team in the postgame and Koga's Crobat at the league? Taking a little peek at our TM move pool here, we get some pretty good stuff. Hidden Power is always fun, very eager to see which one we'll get. Shadow Ball is going to be our strongest move in this run. But since TMs are single use prior to Gen 5, it's a little deceptive because we want to make sure that Shadow Ball is going to be a permanent move on our slots before using the TM. So, behold this rival fight. We haven't fought any Pokemon up to this point, so we're the same level. Yeah, check out Psywave, the misses, the random damage we're dealing. Now, Totodile can't attack us in this fight. It doesn't have Bite yet. A fight that normally takes about 15 seconds goes on for so freaking long that if I told you that I blew all of my power points just trying to beat the rival's starter, you'd probably think I was joking. And then you watch this fight, and then it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. It's Psywave we have to deal with here. Literally our last power point just squeezed out a victory for us. I mean, we would have still won, but I would have had to gone through all 40 uses of Growl just to gain access to Struggle. Yeah, that's Psywave, baby. And now for something completely awesome. You want to see the opposite of the terrible luck we just had? Well, check out this fight with Falkner, because I have never in my life had Confuse Ray luck this good, ever. Not casually, not in challenge runs. Now, Pidgey can hit us with Mud Slap. Both of Falkner's Pokemon have it. Unfortunately for us, that doesn't come to pass here, because as you see, Pidgey just keeps hitting itself while we're landed in Psywaves. Every single turn was lost to confusion. I don't think I've ever had that happen before, ever. We're not quite as lucky against Pidgeotto, and it is able to hit us with Gust a couple of times, but honestly, we've done so much damage to it between Psywave and Confuse Ray, we were never in any serious danger. We would have had to have gotten absurdly unlucky to lose that fight. Now, next up, for major fights, we can either go take on our rival, or we can fight Bugsy, and I'm going to opt to battle Bugsy first. The only Pokemon who should be any danger to us is Scyther, because, I mean, Metapod flat out can't attack us. Kakuna has Poison Sting, but it dealt all of 1 damage, so that's kinda whatever. Now, Scyther has Fury Cutter, a move that builds power upon every consecutive use. So our strategy here is going to be Confuse Ray to try and shut down the power buildup, and we're going to use Spite to deplete the power points of Fury Cutter. Fury Cutter in Generation 2 also has 95 accuracy, so it can miss. Takes a little bit of time for things to go our way, but eventually Scyther will hit itself in confusion right here. We use Spite to deplete the last 5 power points of Fury Cutter, causing Scyther to go for Leer because it can no longer damage us. Victory is ours! And as we defeat Scyther, spoilers, gotta say, I love using Misdreavus. It's one of my favorite Pokemon. Actually, a lot of the Pokemon I like are from Johto. But having movesets like this to work with just make challenges a lot more fun. Now, that said, we're not out of the woods just yet. In order to leave Azala City, we do have to defeat our rival, who's out west. He'll have a Ghastly and a Zubat, and the mid-evolution of his starter, which for us is going to be Croconaw. I picked Croconaw because Croconaw has dark moves like Bite and Crunch, I believe it gets. We're going to have to rely on Confuse Ray and Psywave to fight Ghastly because we can't hit it with Swift. And fortunately for us, things do go our way. We're able to take it out real fast. That's good because I don't want to get hit by a Lick and get paralyzed. The Zubat only hits us with a Weak Bite before it hits itself in Confusion, and we take it out with Swift. Now, this fight against Croconaw is pretty funny, because for some reason I was like, you know what, I'm going to try making Psywave look good. It was a bit of a dud in the first rival fight, but, you know, it is pretty consistent with how much it misses, so I guess I am showing off this move's true colors in true fashion. Like, I kid, kind of, but we miss with Psywave again, and again, and again, and it's at this point where I'm like, you know what? Just stop fooling around, Roz. Use Swift and end this fight. That's kind of why I was goofing around, because I knew I'd be able to take it out with a few hits of Swift. That's the last time I tried making Psywave look good. Don't be an enabler, kids. That's the moral of the story. We can now head to Goldenrod City uninterrupted and take on Whitney. And gotta say, feeling pretty confident about this fight too, because she's the normal gym trainer and we're a ghost type. Though Clefairy does have Metronome, that uses random moves, and Miltank does have Rollout, so gotta be a bit careful here. And you'll notice we're level 28 now. We've leveled up a fair bit. That's because we have Psybeam. Yes, I still have Psywave, just in case. And you know what I said about being careful? There's a nice, delicious Psybeam crit, and down goes Miltank. And now, before we can battle Morty at Ecruteak City and Pokemon Crystal, we do have to battle the rival at the Burned Tower, so let's go take him on. He has a couple of new additions to his team, including Haunter, now evolved from Ghastly, and that could be dangerous because his Haunter knows Curse. Really don't want this thing sticking around, but fortunately for us, we have super effective Psybeam, so it's not really an issue. Next up is Zubat, unsurprisingly, goes down to a single Psybeam. For Croconaw, we'll set up Confuse Ray just for safety. It does pay off, and we deal nice damage with Psybeam. However, one of his new additions is a Magnemite, and currently we don't have any moves that deal anything less than ineffective damage. Confuse Ray will help out a little bit, maybe, but he also hits us with Supersonic, despite that coin flip accuracy. We're able to outmuscle Magnemite with Psybeam at the moment, and Thundershock doesn't do too much damage, thankfully no paralysis. Well, Confuse Ray was a bit of a dud in the finale for that fight, wasn't it? With that out of the way, let's go ahead and get that badge off of Morty. All he has is the Ghastly line. You'd think he'd have a Misdreavus, being that it's Johto. But hey, that's better for us because we can use Psybeam to sweep this entire team. Although Gengar will survive because Gengar is pretty bulky, not as special bulky like in Gen 1, but at our level and Psybeam not being that great of a move to begin with, Gengar will survive, and it does go for Hypnosis and thankfully misses because Dream Eater would have just ruined us. Last but certainly not least is a second Haunter and one shot with Psybeam. Wow, what a surprise. Now we're going to go after Price next after doing some Team Rocket shenanigans. And I'm not going to make the mistake I made in Wooper's run where I got overly confident and was messing around. We're going for the win straight away. Only takes 2 hits of Psybeam to take out Seal, and Confuse Ray was a wasted turn. If our attack got dropped from Aurora Beam, I don't really care because we're just going to spam Psybeam. We get much better Confuse Ray luck against Dewgong, and only hits us once right before it goes down, but we take it out with Swift easy peasy. I will say, against Piloswine here, we don't deal as much damage with Psybeam as I thought we would, and getting hit by Blizzard a little scary, could get frozen off of that. We bring Piloswine to just a sliver, and Confuse Ray comes in super clutch here, takes itself out. Oh yeah. And next up is Chuck, but I don't think this requires any sort of narration, because, I mean, he has 2 fighting types, and we're a ghost type, and we have a psychic move, which is super effective against both of his Pokemon. We both have low special. Yeah, that's about what I thought. Now, Jasmine is going to be a fair bit tougher. She has 2 Magnemites with Thunderbolt and Steelix, which is Steelix, you know? Now, you'll see that we do have Hidden Power, and I do know what type it is. That's why I kept it on our move slots here, but I want to actually try beating this fight without it first. And it turns out this might not have been the best idea. Because not only does the first Magnemite paralyze us, we lose a couple of turns to paralysis and get nailed with Thunderbolts. Being paralyzed at 55 hit points against Steelix with Stab Iron Tail, not looking forward to it. Naturally, Steelix will hit us with Iron Tail, but we have Pain Split now, so we can drain damage from him and heal ourselves, kind of. The way that Pain Split works is that you take a chunk of health from your enemy and take it onto yourself. That can also work in reverse, so if you use Pain Split on a Pokemon with very low health, you're actually going to be taking damage and giving health back to your enemy. And because I have the power of hindsight in editing, watching me trying to fight Jasmine a second time with roughly the same strategy in mind, I'm just sitting here like, man, just use Hidden Power. Just spam Hidden Power. Our Hidden Power is pretty good. But I am a stubborn one. I do like to try to come up with other strategies that don't involve brute forcing if I can help it. However, even though Steelix goes the same way on turn 1, including Pain Split, now we're going to go ahead and use our Hidden Power. Well, maybe we lost a turn to Paralysis. Oh, we missed Iron Tail. Sweet deal. Our Hidden Power is in fact super effective against Steelix. What typing do you think our Hidden Power is? Let me know in the comments. I shall reveal it later. Well, all we need is one more badge, and we're gonna have to go fight Claire, and get that one. 3 Dragonairs and a Kingdra, I think we'll be alright. And judging by Psybeam's damage, we should 2-shot each of the Dragonair. Out comes the second one, we deal about 2/3, and we get hit by Thunderbolt, and of course we get paralyzed off of it, 10% chance, why wouldn't we? Oh, critical Ice Beam and we lose a turn, just pile it on, why don't you? Kingdra comes out, I'm surprised we didn't get KO'd by Surf, Pain Split coming in super clutch. We get Kingdra down low, Claire uses a Hyper Potion, and I think about going for Pain Split the first time. Turns out that it was a good idea to go for it the second time because we have just enough health to finish off the Kingdra with a follow-up. Well, Karen Claire really needs to get her gym badge revoked. Next up is our rival, the final required fight in the game, and he does lead off with Sneasel. He does have Feint Attack in this fight, so we do gotta be a bit careful here. Or do we? Nah, we don't. Thanks, Confuse Ray. Next is Golbat, goes down to a critical Psybeam. I like this little exchange with Magneton here. We go for Confuse Ray, powers through it, paralyzes us, we hit it with Psybeam after it drops Confusion, only to reapply Confusion through our 10% chance to confuse. Trouble strikes, however, as Haunter comes out, outspeeds us due to paralysis. Thankfully, Confuse Ray, we don't hit ourselves. And for Alligator, would have been scary if it didn't go for Scary Face for no reason. We even lose our second turn to paralysis, only to confuse him. And last but, yeah, kinda least, is Kadabra, because all it has for an attacking move in this fight is Future Sight, so we don't lose too many turns. We're able to take it out with a combination of Psybeam and Hidden Power. If you haven't guessed our Hidden Power type, be sure to do so. There's still time. And no, I'm not being cheeky. Okay, I am a little bit. I prompted the guess because we're actually about to replace Hidden Power as we no longer really need it. Make your final guesses on what you thought it was. As we say hello to Thief. Our Hidden Power type as Misdreavus in this run was Water type. Yeah, I was surprised too. It was very useful. But going forward, I don't think we're going to need it. We're going to get much better moves once we get to Kanto, and Thief should at least help us out a little bit. Yeah, Thief in Gen 2 only has 40 base power, but we're able to use it to 2-shot Xatu here. I'd say Psychic didn't do much, but we are a little high-leveled for his team. Thanks to that Bitterberry, the second Xatu goes down without us taking damage. Jinx is up next, we 2-shot it with Thief, take a bit of damage from Psychic. Slowbro goes for Amnesia, and that turns out to be a complete waste of time for it because we crit it with Thief, almost one-shot it, and we're down to 60 hit points for the last Pokemon, so not great, but we should still be okay. We'll hit Executor with Confuse Ray, turns out to pay off, and then we'll follow up with Pain Split, gain some health back, and then we can finish it off with Thief. That was an awesome start to the Elite Four. Let's see if we can keep this rush going. Next up is Koga, whom I'm mostly not worried about. The Fortress might be a bit annoying, but the rest of his team were super effective against via Psybeam, so shouldn't be too bad, I hope. Unsurprisingly, Ariados goes down to a single Psybeam. Next up is Koga's Venomoth. We're faster, being a much higher level. One Psybeam does the trick. Koga opts to send out Fortress as his third, and here's where I'm a bit worried. It can't really damage us, but at the same time, we're not going to be able to do much to it, and I really don't want to get stalled out by Protect, which it can do. Turn 1, it goes for Spikes. It likes to do that, even if we have a solo Pokemon. It's just Gen 2 AI right there. And yeah, as it turns out, we did get stalled out by Protect a little bit, but we're able to bait him. As you saw, we used our last power point of Thief, and Protect will fail if used in succession. I really wish I had gotten rid of Psywave and kept Spite earlier, but what can you do? But as Fortress does eventually go down, all that's left is Muck and Crobat, and honestly, not that big of a deal. We do get Poison, so we're on a bit of a soft timer. But at the same time, we can deal super effective damage to both of his Pokemon. Muck has higher special defense, so that's a bit more dangerous, but at the end, we still won, with plenty of health to spare. Bruno's next. You'd think I wouldn't be concerned about this, but Hitmonlee, I believe, has Foresight, and Hitmontop does have Dig. It's much weaker in Gen 2, but it can hit us. In case you don't know, Foresight makes it possible to hit Ghost with normal and fighting moves, which means if Hitmonlee does use Foresight, we can get hit by Machamp's Cross Chop. Gonna be a bad day. Wouldn't you know it, we don't one-shot Hitmonlee, and it does land Foresight. We're in a bit of trouble now. Hitmonchan's not too big of a deal with Mach Punch, but the problem is we're being softened up for Machamp. And Onix, well, I guess he exists. Machamp's last, we're not going to one-shot it with Psybeam, and gotta say, the damage is not as good as I was hoping for. Oh god, here comes the Cross Chop, and... oh, that's beautiful. Oh, that's awesome. Now, before we do battle with Karen, we're going to go ahead and replace Thief with Thunder. Thunder does only have 70 accuracy. We don't have Rain Dance, but the raw power of Thunder, base 120, real hard to pass that up. Problem is, Umbreon loves Sand Attack, and on top of an already inaccurate move, yeah, we're in a bit of trouble here. We're able to take it out, but we took quite a bit of damage off of Feint Attack, and thankfully we do not miss Murkrow, because Murkrow also has Feint Attack. Houndoom took nice damage off of Thunder, and I'm surprised we survived Crunch. Good to know. Set up Confuse Ray just for safety, it hits itself good. Go for Pain Split to get some health back, and unfortunately Crunch does take us out. That was a nice first try, gotta say. Now, in case you don't know, Dark types are immune to Psychic, that's why we're not using Psybeam, despite Psybeam having far greater accuracy. I'm gonna reset on this attempt here, because Sand Attack is just gonna cripple us too much going forward. Gonna need a bit of Confused Ray luck to get by Umbreon, and thankfully for us, Umbreon hits itself both times, and we don't miss Thunder either time. Awesome start. Murkrow is obviously a one-shot. And, had a Gen 1 moment there, did you, Karen? Roar doesn't work in solo challenges. Psybeam, unfortunately, does not one-shot Vileplume, and we get hit by Stun Spore, but I'm still feeling confident. Moonlight doesn't save it, and all that's left is Gengar. Lick does very little, and Psybeam one-shots. Heck yeah. All that's between us and championship status is Pokemon Champion Lance, and I'm feeling pretty confident because, well, his opening Gyarados has a move that we can exploit. Observe. We go for Confuse Ray. I actually don't want him to hit himself. He doesn't. He sets up Rain Dance, so now for the next 5 turns, Thunder is 100 accurate. Gyarados, of course, is a one-shot. Even better, we paralyze the first Dragonite off of Thunder. We get hit by Thunder too, but no paralysis. Yeah, bye-bye. Unfortunately for us, we do eventually get paralyzed, and although we're able to make it rather far in this fight due to Thunder being at least normal effective against Dragonite and super effective against his other 3 Pokemon, we make it to the very last Pokemon and go down to Outrage. Shame. But you see our strategy here, it will work. For Gyarados, I went for Pain Split just to waste a turn, just in case he hit himself in confusion. And wow, 2 crits back-to-back on Dragonite, I'll take that. Aerodactyl and Charizard are both one-shots with Thunder. We do miss the first Thunder on the final Dragonite, but doesn't matter, we're able to outmuscle it with 2 Thunders. And now Misdreavus is a Pokemon champion. And that's all well and good, however, the run's not over yet because we have a ton of post-game and Kanto to go do, and we gotta see how Misdreavus stacks up against Blue and Red. Must be said, the only actual fights over there. Not only that, but once we get to Kanto, we'll have access to much better moves, including TM29 for Psychic, which is in the exact same location as it is in Generation 1. And also want to apologize to you guys again for this taking so long to come out. I didn't intend for it to take this long. Like, I was looking at my analytics, getting ready to do the voiceover here, and I was like, it's only been like, what, a couple of weeks? No, 49 days and 9 hours last time I checked the analytics. I was like, holy crap, are you kidding me? Oh man, I tell you, there are not enough hours in a day for me to get anything done. I should start running on Men in Black time, 37.5 hour days, then we can get some stuff done. And hey, speaking of Psychic, gonna go ahead and teach it over Psybeam, finally. I still haven't taught Shadow Ball yet. We can still get a fair bit of mileage out of Thunder, although I do plan on getting rid of it for Shadow Ball after this fight. Case in point, Pidgeot, one shot with Thunder. Rhydon's next, goes down to 2 Psychics, and only manages to set up a Sandstorm. Not bad. And as Gyarados comes out, it's pretty funny, because I'm like, okay, we're gonna go for Confuse Ray. It's not gonna hit itself, and it'll use Rain Dance. And then Sandstorm's piling on. It does 1/8 of your total health in Gen 2, so that's bad. I was hoping to exploit Rain Dance, but no such luck here. And, well, we did pretty good damage to Arcanine with Psychic, even got a special defense drop. But he uses Roar, and because it switched over to Snorlax, I'm going to go ahead and deposit my other Pokemon, because I forgot that he had Roar. See, unlike in Generation 1, it does work in trainer battles. That should have been a first try, so let's rectify this, shall we? Now, Pidgeot and Rhydon go the exact same way, unsurprisingly. Against Gyarados, we're just going to go for Psychic. That way, Gyarados will set up Rain Dance, removing Sandstorm, and now our Thunder has 100 accuracy. Gyarados, of course, goes down, and as Arcanine comes out, we hit with Thunder and get the Clutch Paralysis. Heck yeah. Now, Executor can't do all that much to us. It's going to need 2 turns to charge Solar Beam, and it's going to do half damage because of Rain Dance. I almost said Sunny Day. And we get a second Thunder Paralysis. That's just amazing. Well, with no more Rain Dance, Solar Beam did a fair bit of damage, so we might have gotten a little lucky in that fight. That's fine. Also has me a bit concerned, though, because Red's up next. His team is much stronger, and we're going to go from being a little over-leveled to being under-leveled. But I have a strategy for Red that I am very confident will work. And if you'll excuse me, time to withdraw my HM buddies, make our way to Mount Silver, and take on Red. We're going to rearrange our moveset just one more time. And yes, that move rearrangement does include us finally taking Shadow Ball. Thunder was really awesome in this run, and technically we could still get a bit of mileage out of it since Blastoise does no Rain Dance, but I don't think we're going to need it. We're also going to ditch Psychic for the move Curse, which is really awesome for a Ghost type. Now, of Red's 6 Pokemon, he leads off with a level 81 Pikachu, so again, we are under-leveled for this fight, at least against some of his team. So we'll go ahead and lay in with Shadow Ball, our strongest move available to us, and does a good bit of damage to Pikachu. Would have liked that to be a one-shot, thank the gods Charm missed. And Red ends up using not 1, but 2 full restores, and that's a damage range. Good job, guy. Now, Snorlax is next, and we can't damage it with Shadow Ball because normal is immune to Ghost type. We can, however, use Curse to take away half of our health to cause Snorlax to lose a fourth of his every turn. Combine that with Pain Split, and we can keep ourselves a bit healthy. That said, Snorlax can stall us out with Rest. It can't actually damage us. It has Body Slam and Snore, and neither of those will affect a Ghost type. But we'll need Snorlax to hit itself a couple of times while Curse drains its health. And because we can't do nothing in combat, wasting turns with Curse is going to be the play here, because we don't need it for any other Pokemon. And we don't want to use Pain Split just in case Snorlax's health gets a little bit too low, because that'll actually hurt us. Next up is Venusaur, and gotta say, pretty scary. Confuse Ray not lasting long, it goes for Sunny Day. Our damage with Shadow Ball is acceptable. Alright, we got it to a sliver with Shadow Ball. It does go for Solar Beam. That shouldn't do that much damage to us. Me and my big mouth, you know, if that wasn't a crit, we'd be okay. So against Charizard, I'm gonna go for Confuse Ray. Thankfully, it hits itself Pain Split to get some health back. After getting hit by a Flamethrower, we're gonna want to do that a second time. The heal over time from leftovers really making this a potent combo, too. Okay, so we're at about half health for Blastoise. Now, the problem is that Blastoise has Rain Dance, so if we had Thunder, this would be amazing, but we don't. Blastoise is very bulky, so Shadow Ball won't do much damage. That Surf's doing quite a bit of damage to us. Pain Split helps us out a bit, but of course, not confused anymore. There's Surf. Oh, that wasn't even a crit. But yeah, if we didn't get crit by Venusaur Solar Beam, I'm pretty confident that that would have been a first try victory. You see the strategy, and really, it's just a matter of getting Snorlax's RNG to cooperate with us. And you want to know something that's really, really annoying as we're going into the second attempt here. It's sped up for a reason. And that reason is because when we get to Venusaur, the exact same thing happens. We get crit by Solar Beam again. And of course that was after Snorlax cooperated a fair bit with us there. And there's even that same false sense of security going on there. And yeah, there's Solar Beam right there. That critical hit took us down to 6 health. That's wild. As frustrating as that is, however, again, very confident that we could win this fight at this level. I always thought it was really interesting in Gen 2 for when you go from blue to red, the level jump is massive. Blue and red both have pretty awesome teams, and interestingly enough, in my opinion, Misdreavus actually matches up pretty well against both of them. As I'm going through these multiple attempts, in my mind I'm like, should I have gotten rid of Thunder? Was that the right play? And honestly, I think it was. I mean, yeah, it would have been great against Blastoise. It would have beaten Blastoise for sure, and Charizard would get one shot by Thunder. Pretty confident in that. However, it would be ineffective against Venusaur, and Venusaur has Sunny Day, which would lower our Thunder's accuracy to 50, so yeah, good luck with that. We would need the Curse, Pain Split, Confuse Ray strategy to work for us a second time, and against a Pokemon that can actually damage us. And having Confuse Ray, Pain Split, and Curse is mandatory to beat this fight at this level as Misdreavus. Oh, and Snorlax has Amnesia, so that would make Thunder next to useless. On this attempt here, Pikachu, nothing to write home about. And it's time to play the Snorlax Lottery. Hope you got your scratch-offs ready. Actually, I don't like Snorlax Lottery. It doesn't roll off the tongue that well. Snorlax Slots? There we go. And we get Snorlax to a Sliver, and it goes for Rest. We're in no inherent danger here, but with Rest putting him to sleep for a couple of turns, we could potentially get stalled out. Thankfully, we cashed out pretty hard with that game of Snorlax Slots there. And it's Venusaur. Please don't crit me with Solar Beam again. That'd be great. And again, Shadow Ball not doing too bad damage there. Sunny Day's not great. That's going to make Solar Beam instant cast. And that damage, not bad, not bad. Misclicked Confuse Ray. Thankfully, I didn't get punished for it. And, well, we're able to outmuscle Venusaur with Shadow Ball, although we're not in great shape for Charizard. 67 health, could be better. Now, we're definitely going to want to use Pain Split on Charizard to get some health back here, and holy crap, that Flamethrower doing a lot of damage there. Confuse Rate, better safe than sorry. It hits itself, excellent. Thankfully, its defense isn't great. We can take it out at that health with Shadow Ball. Now, as Blastoise comes out at our current health, it's not going to go for Rain Dance because our health is low. Thankfully, Pain Split saving the day yet again. But Pain Split's only going to take us so far. Blastoise will KO us with Surf here if we don't hit it with Confuse Ray. Thankfully it does, and we deal just enough damage to take it out with Shadow Ball. Whew, that was a tough fight. Yeah, I know Espeon was still there, but I mean, it wasn't going to be able to do anything to us. Wow, that was awesome. What a great run. It wasn't the hardest run in the world, but boy did I have fun. I love using Misdreavus, man. Our next Pokemon challenge is going to take us to Kanto in Generation 3. We're going to play as Raticate, not just for the main story, but also the post-game. I'll see you guys at that video. Take care. Later.